You have 12 scholarships filled for next year. There's an open spot.
Yeah.
And the possibility of perhaps adding. What are you looking for if you are going to make a move like that? How important is vetting the possible chemistry stuff to you, and if you do make that decision?
Well, I'll answer it two ways. Number one, we're always actively looking to make our team better. And so not just this summer, we're always looking to improve our team. But on the other end, I really like where our team is right now. You know, we got our full team here on campus. Obviously, the returning players because they're in the first session of summer school, but our freshmen are now on campus. Jalen Washington, Tyler Nickel, Seth Trimble will be here tomorrow. He was competing in the under 18 USA basketball games in Tijuana, Mexico, and I actually last week was in Tijuana to watch him play a couple games, and so he'll be here on Thursday. So there is the thing that I like about our team right now is there is a hunger and a thirst and a desire, and it's coming from the returning players from what they experienced last year, and then the newness of the freshmen that are really excited. And so combining that together, I think we're in a good spot. But we're always actively looking to improve our team. And it's not just about basketball. One of the things that we have great chemistry. So it also, one of the things I always say is I want good basketball players, but they got to be good people, good from good families. And so, yes, you have to be a good basketball player, but it has to fit in our locker room because we have tremendous chemistry. And I never want to try to disrupt that.
Can I ask a quick follow-up?
Yeah.
How much were we relying on some of the older guys like Leaky and Armando kind of giving you some feedback about chemistry, about what they think of anybody that might be?
No, it's just they've been terrific. RJ, Caleb, Leaky, Armando, the older guys, all the returning guys. What they experienced last year has lit a fire inside of all of them to have more experiences like that. And it just hasn't been the upperclassmen. Caleb and RJ and Caleb and Leaky has been terrific, but I've also seen tremendous leadership from Dontrez and Puff, and I'm just really excited about the leadership of this team.
You mentioned the leadership with Dontrez and with Puff, and obviously Brady being gone now. There's an opportunity there for them to step up and fill it.
Yeah.
What are you sort of looking for them to accomplish this summer? What are the ways that you're challenging them and hoping that they improve?
Well, I've said, all last year that, they were really talented, and that I felt like, the type of players that they are, they could really help out our team out there on the floor. And throughout the season, both Puff and Dontrez continue to get more playing time during the season because they just continue to get better. That's what I want for them. They've got to take the next step. Dontrez is not a freshman anymore. Puff has been healthy, and I want them to build on their on the things that they did well last year, and so it can put them in position to have a bigger role next year. We need them. You talked about Brady; he's gone, and but we're not looking for Puff or Dontrez or anyone to replace Brady. Brady's Brady, and we need everybody, specifically Puff and Dontrez, to be themselves, to be the best version of themselves in the way that they have approached their workouts in the weight room, individual workouts that we've done throughout the summer pickup, puts me in a really good position that they're going to be in a good spot next year to really help out this team.
To the transfer portal, you think the success of Brady and the guys you got last year, that you'll want to enter the season with an extra scholarship in your pocket, just in case? Like, how do you kind of approach that now, kind of seeing that it's here to stay with the whole transfer portal? You can really help your team.
Well, you can help your team through the transfer portal. I couldn't imagine where our team would be without Brady. He just fit. Not only was his game was a perfect thing that we needed out there on the floor, his personality in the locker room was awesome. And so one of the things that I think is beneficial, like last year, when you were talking to recruits, you were telling them how we were going to play on both ends of the floor and what it was going to look like. But we couldn't give them an actual picture of it because it was my first year. We hadn't gone through a year. The great thing about it now is you have a full body of work throughout the year to see how we play. And so whether you're whatever position you are, I mean, now you understand that, from an offensive standpoint, we're bound by spacing and balance and movement. We love guys to use their gifts and talents out there on the perimeters and be able to attack the basket. And we'll use ball screens and all different types of stuff and DHOs to be able to get our guys full steam ahead to attack the basket. And people have seen how, especially towards the end of the year, our commitment to the defensive end really helped us and put us in a position. So now there's a body of work to be able to show, not just tell, to show recruits. And that's always a lot better than the way it was last summer.
Hubert, when you're talking about a body of work, it's one thing when you have a team that's not been together and no experience. Maybe I don't know what your approach might be, but you might go a little easier on them and trying to sort of bring them along.
No.
All right, well, let me ask you this. So
No.
do you demand even more, though, when you have a group that's now been through the body of work and the tournament? It's a group you can probably coach harder, do you think, or any different?
No, but, one of the things that I told them, last year was, always to block out the noise. And, I felt like it was, the negative noise, whether it was from the phone, the family, and the friends. And that's something that I felt like that our team did a much better job either turning it off or turning it down last year. And so when they came back on campus, we had a meeting, and I just wanted to set the tone and let them know where I'm coming from. And I told them this year, a huge determining factor, the biggest key for us is now both is noise, but now it's the positive noise. Oh, you guys are great. Oh, you guys are in this way too early, top 25. You're ranked number 1, which absolutely means nothing. You guys are going back to the Final Four. You got 4 starters coming back. That's noise. And for us to focus on what is real, and that's our preparation, our practice, and how we can get better this summer to possibly put us in a position where we were last year and see what happens. But I'm not taking it easy on them. I'm coming harder at them.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
No.
Do you push them hard because they're at more of an advanced point, if you will, a starting point in that regard?
I'm just that type of guy. I'm ready to go. And so I just, this isn't, returning players, new players. I'm ready to compete.
Did you have an indication that all those guys would end up coming back, or did any of them take you by surprise? And now that you're sitting here with 4 returning starters, is that something that you thought possible?
Well, it was something during the year that I never thought about. Is it a surprise to me? No. It is a surprise to other people, but it is not a surprise to me. And the reason why it's not a surprise to me is I knew that when they would have those type of experiences that all of us as coaches and former players have had, that they would want to continue to have those type of experiences. I got picked first round in the NBA draft, pick number 20. And if somebody said, you want to go to the New York Knicks and go to the NBA, or would you like to have another year at North Carolina? There's just no hesitation. I wish I could have taken a 5th year. And so for Caleb and RJ and Armando and Leaky, they finally got to a point where they taste the type of success that all of us as former players have experienced, and they didn't want to give it up. Like, it really makes me feel really good that they had a good time and they enjoy being here. I've always wanted that. I wanted guys that want to be here. I wanted talented basketball players, but I want people that want to be here. And RJ and Caleb and Leaky Armando, because of what they have experienced, they want to be here. And that brings a lot of joy to my heart. I think it's awesome.
Hubert, to what extent is there a challenge in terms of, now with NIL and players maybe being extended outside of schoolwork and the court into that realm? Is there a challenge into making sure that okay, the focus is still have to be on basketball, and that's what got you the deals? Have you had to kind of cover that territory?
I have, I started it off last year, and I've continued to just talk to them about the importance of putting things in its proper place. One of the things that I talked to them about NIL, and I said, like, in order in which I am 100% in support of our players, I'm thankful that they get an opportunity now to be able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness, and I think that's terrific. But I told them that in terms of NIL, number one, there's three boxes that you have to check. Number one is you have to be in a great market. And I said, you can check that box. I said, North Carolina is at the highest level. There's other programs that are at our level, but there's nobody higher than us. So you can check that box. I said, number two is you personally have to play well. I said, it's okay. So you're not going to benefit from your name, image, and likeness if you're not playing well. And I said, number three, which is probably the most important thing, you have to have team success. And I said, you check those three boxes, the NIL will come to you. And I told him a story. It wasn't NIL when I was in the NBA, but when I was playing with the New York Knicks, I got everything. I was in New York City, one of the best markets out there. I was getting all different types of deals because I was playing well personally, and as a team, we were always going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we got to the NBA Finals. So with Patrick Ewing and Doc Rivers, we were a good team. Then I got traded, and that deal left, and this deal left, and this deal left, and it wasn't a good market. I didn't play very well, and our team was not very good. And so I gave them that picture of the things that have to line up in terms to be able to benefit from that. And our guys have done a really good job of understanding what's important and making sure that they're doing the things that they need to do on the court, in the classroom, in the community. And then if you have time to do NIL work, then you can do it. But probably the one that's most active is Armando. And so but he's been getting after it, and he's getting a lot better, and I'm very happy with what he's doing out there on the court. And he's going to take me to Outer Banks. I never thought that I'd go to a player and ask him, can you hook me up? My daughter wants to meet the cast of Outer Banks. I got to go to a player. I mean, things have changed. I'm like, man, good gosh.
Is that like the premiere event? Or?
I don't know what it is, but like this is like huge bonus points for me as a dad for my daughter if I can get her down to Charleston and meet the cast. So I don't know what it is. It could be a premiere, it could be a flyby. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to go. So Mondo said he can make it happen.
Hubert, NIL would have been passed after you were hired, and now a year later it's still rapidly changing. How much has that become part of your job description as a coach to stay on top of it and what kids are thinking about it, and how it just has changed so many things?
Well, kids are thinking about it, and parents are thinking about it. Agents are thinking about it. And it's something that I have to think about, but it's something that I do not focus on at all. I personally, as a coach, I'm not allowed to be involved in it. These are their NIL deals based on their name, image, and likeness. And I've been hired to be the head basketball coach for North Carolina, so that's where my focus is on. And I always say, to focus on the things that are real, and what's real is trying to prepare this team to be the best it can be next season.
You talked about the body of work for the players. What about the body of work for the coaching staff going this year, in particular you? What's different? What you learned this next year?
That's a great question. Some of you guys have asked, process all the things that I've gone through. I still haven't had a chance to really fully process everything. I talked to my wife last week, and since the season's ended, I've been in 13 cities. I mean, it was important to go support the UNC guys that were in the playoffs. So, went to Dallas to go see, Theo and Reggie Bullock, and then Phoenix, and went to go see Cam, and then I went down to Miami to go see Danny Green, and then I talked about going to Tijuana and being able to support Seth Trimble playing international basketball, and then last week I got on a plane and flew to Washington, D.C. to go see Brady work out. He was working out with the Wizards. So I just wanted to give him a hug and tell him how proud I was of him. And so I've been all over the place, and so I really haven't had a chance to kind of process what has gone this past season. But everyone says the second year is different because it's, you're more familiar with things. But I'm still in the newness of stuff. We're just in the middle of camp. This is the first time that we ran camp in 2 years, and the first time we ran camp as me as head coach. And so it's just everything is new and different, and it's really exciting. But I'm very, very proud of what these guys have accomplished last year, and I'm really excited about the next season.
You mentioned that way too early polls are coming out. Those are all meaningless and everything.
They are.
I also know that around this time, a lot of lists are released with the top 25 players returning to college basketball, and Caleb has been a mainstay on those lists. And just wanted to ask, how did he improve so much going from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and even to this point where he's warranting this buzz heading into year 3?
Well, it's because of his hard work and because of his play. I said, the best thing about Caleb compared to a freshman and a sophomore is he's not a freshman anymore. Now he's a sophomore, and he improved dramatically on both ends of the floor. He's a guy that obviously can score anywhere on the floor, whether it's off the catch or the dribble. He's extremely versatile, being able to score in many different ways. I was really proud of the way that he was distributing the basketball and taking care of the basketball, and then towards the second half of the year, just really taking pride defensively and trying to get after it on that end. And the great thing about Caleb is like he's such a great player, but he has so much more to improve on. And I'm just really proud of him. He came in as a freshman, and he was on those mock draft things, and so many times kids focus on that and don't allow the process just to naturally happen. And so, everybody has a time frame, and when they want it, where they want it, how they want it, in the manner in which they want it. But sometimes, you have to tweak and pivot and change. And very easily, Caleb could have left after his freshman year or last year, and he would be playing in the NBA. But, his desire is to be the definitive first-round draft pick. And just like the maturity and the confidence in him and his family to be able to come back and to be able to be a part of this, be a part of the team, but also put himself in a position where not only does he get into the NBA, and this is what we talk about the guys all the time, like I want him to go to the NBA too, but I'm not consumed when you get to the NBA. What I want from them is when they get to the NBA, I want them good enough to stay in the NBA. And Caleb, the way that he is doing it, he is putting himself in a position to stay in the NBA. And I'm very, very proud of him for that.
Hubert, you mentioned you want to see Brady. I mean, he's had a couple workouts. He went to the G League camp. Like, how do you think he can go about finding a place in the NBA?
I can't understand. I mean, I don't know. Does NBA teams keep all 15 roster spots? It's very hard for me to imagine there's not a place for Brady in the NBA with his size, his ability to shoot. I mean, you guys saw it. He's more than he can shoot. He's elite. There's guys that can make shots, there's guys that can make open shots, and there's guys that can also make contested shots, and Brady can do it all. And especially where the game is, and then you combine that with the character and the way that he carries himself, the type of person he is, the family that he comes from, he will be playing in the NBA next year. And I'm really, really proud of him, and I'm really excited about this process and the draft coming up in the next couple weeks.
See him, what did he say to you? Have you guys gotten any feedback from teams on him, what they think of him? Or
Yeah, we have, but it was great. Just flying up there and we was just hanging out before the workout, and then we ended up talking for almost an hour after the workout. But it was really neat because the guys that he was working out with, Abaji from Kansas, he came up to me. I was like, "We almost had you," and he smiled. And then Cole Swider was there, and I was like, "You scored 37 on us. You know? You almost had us too." And so, but it was great, seeing those guys. And I had played for the Washington Wizards, so I had known a number of people that are still involved in the front office. And the really cool thing is when I got back home, and I didn't tell Brady's parents that I was going, but Brady told his parents. And as soon as I got home, I got a text from his mom and his dad and just thanked all of us for coming to go see him. And it's just, I really miss him a lot. He was great. He's awesome.
With what you're returning next year, the Iron Five, they played a lot. It was, you kind of rode them pretty heavily. How's it?
Pretty heavily.
With depth now, we spoke about Puff, about Dontrez, the freshman. How do you see depth, the way you handle rotations and depth, changing maybe next year? I know you haven't practiced.
No. What determines the depth chart is them. I don't determine that. I'm not going into the season saying I want to play 10 or I want an 8-man rotation. They determine it. The 5 that I played a lot last year, especially towards the end of the year, they determined it by their play in practice every day, and it was confirmed by their play in the game. And so if everybody, right now we have 12 on the team, if all 12 practice really well and confirm the way that they played in practice in the games, I'll play a rotation of 12. So I don't go predetermined. The players determine what the rotation is and how much time that they get. And so personally, I don't like playing 5. I really believe when we played Kansas, it was the first time all year that I thought they were tired. We were in the huddle in the second half, and RJ's using a thumper on both calves, and I felt like they were tired. And they gave this team everything that they had. And I don't want to play 5. I want to have a bigger rotation. But I'm not going to give people playing time. And I'm going to give everyone an opportunity. 100%. Every day of practice, you have an opportunity to play. Plain and simple, period, the end. But the players will determine the rotation. And so when we get into practice, whatever the rotation is, that's what has been determined by the guys out there on the floor.
Got time for a few more, so if you need to get something in, get it in, please.
As a coach, I would imagine your goal is for your players to be better every year.
Yeah.
So given the year that Armando gave you last year, what more do you expect out of him, and how much, what areas do you expect him to be better at this year?
Well, one of the things that, that you can improve and get better is consistency. And so it's not necessarily, okay, average blank rebounds a game. He has to average more rebounds a game. Then he's gotten better, from a defensive standpoint and rebound, and won't you do it again? And, one of the things that I've, in terms of Armando that I've been trying to push and prod is for him, because I really believe that he has an incredible ability at the high post to be able to shoot the ball from the outside. And I know that's something that he can do. And I know that's something that, because he wants to play in the NBA, he's going to have to show that he can do that. And so I'm really excited to see Armando's improvement from last year to this year. But one way that you can determine that is the consistency from year to year. And I really believe all of our players will be able to do that.
Is that the same thing? Is that the same thing with RJ with his development? Is it consistency or something else you want to see as like a next step in his game?
Yeah, one of the things, not just specifically for him, just from an offensive standpoint, basically as a team, I think, I want to get better in transition. I know we, average 78 points a game. At the beginning of the year, I told him I wanted to average in the mid-80s, and so I'd like to play faster. In our half-court sets, it was generated a lot by ball screens, and that allowed us to attack the basket, get spacing, and hit threes and do different stuff. Armando roll into the basket. one of the things that we didn't do much of, and I'd like to do more this year, is more screens off the ball, down screens and flare screens and just different stuff like that. Post some different guys up. The only person that we really posted up consistently was Armando, but I really think Puff and Dontrez and Leaky are really good post-up players. And so trying to use some of the talents that they have out there on the floor and then just try to tweak and pivot defensively. You know, we were really good in the half court, but trying some different things to maybe take teams out of their offense is something that I've been looking at a lot and looking forward to put in for next year.
Will Shaver came in early. How did he benefit from being here as opposed to finishing out in high school? And what couple of areas did he make a lot of progress in?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that, I love having Will Shaver here. And I think there's two things. One, coming in the middle of the year, it gives him a head start on the other freshmen. I mean, he's been a part of practice. Obviously, he was with us during our run, so he has a clear picture of how hard you have to work just to put yourself in a position to be a player and, to have a chance to be in the rotation and be out there on the floor. Also, I think it was very hard. I won't ever do that again. Football does it, but they're not in season. And it was just really difficult in the middle of the season. I mean, we were in a sprint, and then Will coming in the middle of the year joining the sprint. And he did a terrific job. And, I mean, the chemistry with him and the rest of the team was absolutely fantastic. It was just it was a little difficult. It was hard, but the benefit that Will personally got from having that experience, I'm very happy with. He is in a great spot now because he came early. Just in terms of the season, how busy it was coming in as a freshman in the middle of the year. I think it's very difficult. It's not something that it was a failure. It wasn't bad. In the future, I will not do that again. But Will has been great, and I'm looking forward to him being out there on the floor. And I know, it was hard for him just to sit there on the bench, and now he has an opportunity to fight for minutes. And I'm glad he's here.
Time for two more. One of them's Gregory, and then Brendan.
Hubert, what's the importance and benefit of having these former players come in and play pickup with your guys? I mean, obviously, the current guys were 4 points away from a national championship, and now former guys that have won the championship are coming and playing with them.
Well, it's always been a foundation point for Carolina basketball to have former players come back in the summer and play pickup with our guys. But not only that, but also hang out with our guys. That's the thing that binds us together. It's our shared relationships, even though if you didn't play with a particular person. And so, when I was in the NBA in the summertime, I bought a house here, and this is where I used to train to get ready for the upcoming season. And there was no better place than to train here and to be around the guys, better competition, the best pickup. And so just before I came in here, Kenny Williams and Marcus Page were out there, and just being able to give them a huge hug. And it's just really neat having them back. And I can tell them what this place is about and what it means to be a part of this program, but I also think it's even more coming from the former players. And so having older guys like Wayne Ellington and Cole Anthony and Kobe White and Marcus and Kenny here is a huge benefit for our guys. It just really is.
Last one, Brendan.
You mentioned how important it was and beneficial for Puff being healthy coming into this summer. What is sort of the advantage of that for him, and just generally, how's Armando's ankle and Jalen's knee? Obviously, he cost him a lot of last season.
Yeah, it did. In regards to Puff, a lot of prior to last year has been like rehab, and so this is the first full summer that Puff can work out. And that we can be out there on the floor and we can, individual workouts and work on different things, not from a rehab standpoint. And so that was the same thing for Leaky. Like last summer was the first time all summer in his entire career that he worked out healthy. And look at the year that he had. And so it's just a huge benefit for Puff finally being healthy and us just being able to get out there on the floor and let's just get better. And, you saw last year, He's going to build off the performance that he had in the national championship game, and he's just going to continue to get better and better. Armando, he told me yesterday he was 77% in terms of his ankle. The percentages these kids that give out are hilarious. I don't know how they get to those percentages, how they can self-diagnose themselves, but it's getting a lot better. And me personally, having gone through ankle sprains, you're better, but you don't feel like 100% for maybe 5 months or so. And so every day he's playing pickup, he's doing individual workouts. But the overall strength, 33% of the strength is missing for Armando. And so, but he's continuing to get better and doing all the things. And Jalen can do everything except 5-on-5. And so he's doing all individual workouts, 5-on-0, and doing running, doing strength and conditioning, and he'll be able to do 5-on-5 right at the beginning when everyone comes back for the fall semester. And so I'm really excited about him. I know he got to miss his senior year of high school, but he's a really, really talented player, and I'm really excited about playing him out there on the floor. He's going to be great next year.
Coach, thank you, everybody. Thank
Thanks,
you for
guys.
coming.
Thank you.
And again, we'll let you know when we have the day for the players. Appreciate it.